Becoming a wise grandparent requires more than just being present in the lives of your grandchildren. It involves cultivating a patient heart, an open mind, and a deep understanding of the changing dynamics between parents, children, and the elder generation. The wisdom of a grandparent does not only come from experience, but from the ability to adapt to changing times while preserving the core values and principles that have guided their life. The first step in becoming a wise grandparent is understanding your role. Grandparenting is not about replacing the parents or assuming authority, but about being a supportive guide and trusted confidant. This requires respecting the parenting styles and decisions of your children, even when they conflict with your own beliefs. Wisdom lies in knowing when to step in and when to step back, when you offer advice with gentleness, and when to keep your opinions in your heart until they are asked for explicitly. In today's fast-paced society, grandparents can play a critical role in providing stability and a loving presence for children who are growing up in a much more complex world than the one in which you grew up. The value of your stories, lessons, and experiences cannot be overstated, but sharing them wisely means knowing how to connect with young minds using language and examples relevant to their life. A wise grandparent builds trust slowly with compassion and patience, not by making demands, but by being someone a child can go to when life is confusing or overwhelming. In practical terms, being a wise grandparent starts with deep listening. Listening to your grandchild without expecting to provide a solution is one of the greatest gifts you can give. The modern child faces pressures from school, peers, technology, and social expectations that you may not fully understand. But through listening without judgment, you create a space where they feel safe and valued. A wise grandparent recognizes that emotional intelligence matters as much as knowledge, and that being empathetic and non-judgmental cultivates open lines of communication. Wisdom also means embracing the curiosity of your grandchildren and encouraging their talents. A grandparent nurtures creativity and self-expression, builds self-confidence in a child. If your grandchild loves art, music, technology, or sports, be interested in their interests. Even if you don't understand video games or TikTok, be open to learning why they care about it. This openness builds a bridge between generations and shows your grandchild that their world matters. Much of the wisdom in grandparenting lies in modeling the right behavior. Grandchildren observe how you treat others, how you handle conflicts, and how you live your values. If you model kindness, forgiveness, gratitude, and humility, they are likely to adopt those traits. It's not about giving lectures, but demonstrating these lessons in your action. Your grandchild will remember how you helped a neighbor or how you remained calm in a tough time far more than any story you may share. Another aspect of wise grandparenting is investing in the relationship with your adult children. Your bond with them sets a tone for the entire family. Dynamics often shift when a child becomes a parent, and this transition can be delicate. It requires respecting their authority as the primary caregiver and avoiding undermining them. Being a wise grandparent means offering help without control. It means saying, yes, I'll watch the kids, without adding, I wouldn't let your kids watch this much TV. It means being there when needed and being absent when your presence causes tension. Another pillar of wisdom is self-awareness. Understanding your own emotions, biases, and triggers allows you to navigate relationships more smoothly. If you find yourself angry that the children aren't raising their kids like you did, reflect on whether your reaction is about them or the expectation you carry from your past. Wisdom comes through humility and the willingness to accept that the world has changed, and so have parenting standards. Wise grandparents also respect boundaries, especially in modern families where cultural traditions may differ in terms of living arrangements, discipline, religion, or values. Establishing clear and respectful boundaries builds trust, and if your adult child asks for privacy, respect that. Don't take it as rejection, but as a way of protecting the family unit. Sometimes wisdom means not doing, but allowing. Being patient rather than imposing. Your willingness to take a step back shows that you honor their independence. As society continues changing, grandparents are often asked to fulfill varied roles. Some may care for grandchildren full-time, while others may live far away. Wisdom lies in being present regardless of circumstances. If you're long distance, find ways to connect through video chats, letters, and surprise packages. Let your grandchild know that you are part of their life, even if you can't be physically there regularly. In cases where you are living with or providing daily care for a grandchild, The importance of structure and consistency cannot be overstated. Wise grandparents create a routine, yet allow room for flexibility. They use their house as a sanctuary of fun, learning, and warmth without creating friction with the child's parent. Discipline is a sensitive area where wisdom is essential. You should follow the rules laid down by the parents and not contradict them openly. This reinforces respect for the parents and prevents confusion in the child's mind. Wise grandparents treat family dramas with care and discretion. Conflicts among siblings, between parents and others are common, but you should avoid taking part in sides even if you have a strong opinion. Your neutrality can be a stabilizing force. Within families, gossip and favoritism can do lasting damage. A wise grandparent treats all grandchildren with unconditional love and fairness. While each child is different and unique, consistency in how you show love, encouragement, and discipline builds trust across generations. Another feature of wisdom is storytelling, but not in the outdated lectures from the past. Instead, use your story to convey relevant life experiences in an easygoing manner. Tell about a time you failed and learned something valuable. Tell them about your first job, your first loss or fear, not to instruct, but to humanize yourself. Let them see that struggle and resilience are part of life. This makes you relatable and trustworthy and teaches without preaching. Wise grandparents also take care of their own mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Staying healthy isn't just for your benefit, but so you can be energetic, involved, and engaged with your grandchildren. A wise grandparent knows when to rest, knows when to take a medical issue or symptom seriously, and makes self-care a priority. When you value yourself, you also demonstrate healthy habits for your grandchild. Wisdom also means remaining a lifelong learner. Don't be afraid to try new things. Learn to use technology or attend classes, especially if your grandchild is interested in something. Let them see you as a fellow explorer of knowledge. This breaks the myth that old age is all about decline and shows young people that learning never ends. Wise grandparents also have a plan to add value to their lives. Grandparents can be a spiritual guide, light-hearted mentor, and a source of tradition and morals. Take opportunities to share your faith, your cultural heritage, your values in thoughtful ways. Celebrate holidays, cook traditional meals, pass down ceremonies, but also be open to how they are changing. Let children ask questions without feeling pressured to conform, allowing them to embrace you and their own paths simultaneously. Because wisdom involves preparing for the future, and part of that is sharing your legacy. Talk to your grandchild about how you grew up, what they can learn from your choices, and what you hope they remember you for. Write letters, record messages, or give them something personal with meaning, so your voice and values live on after you. This kind of emotional inheritance is often far more powerful than material gifts. Finally, a wise grandparent leads with love. Not just love in the cliché sense, but a deep, compassionate, patient, understanding love. That means loving without condition, loving even when there's disagreement, loving without measuring return, loving when the child pulls away and returns later with uncertainty. It is the resilient, anchoring love that tells a child, no matter what, I am here. That is the wisdom that children carry into their futures, especially when life tests them. A wise grandparent walks beside the child's journey without ever trying to walk in their shoes, letting them fall and learn, but never letting them believe for a moment that they are alone. A wise grandparent understands that the love and bond they create with their grandchildren is not built in a single moment, but through time, consistency, and care. They realize that small gestures count as much as grand action, whether it's remembering their grandchild's favorite treat, calling them on special occasions, or just spending quiet time together. These actions build foundations of love and trust. A wise grandparent does not try to be the hero of their grandchild's story, but instead as a trusty companion who offers guidance when sought and comfort when needed. In their wisdom, they know that they are not meant to solve their grandchild's problems, but to equip them to walk through life confidently. Grandparents, who deeply understand their place in the family unit, contribute to harmony. They acknowledge that parenting is primary and that their role is to enhance the relationship, not control it. Wisdom lies in letting the child find their way, even if that path looks different from what you imagine. This often means practicing the art of silence, of watching, listening, and trusting. Wise grandparents also honor the present moment. They do not dwell in nostalgia or constantly remind children that In their day, things were better. They live in the now, appreciating the world their grandchildren live in. This openness invites the child to include them in their present life rather than see them as relics of the past. It also means engaging in their world, whether it's understanding social media, listening to their favorite music, or asking about their friends in school life. A wise grandparent is curious, not judgmental. Technology can be a tool rather than a barrier for the wise grandparent. Video calls, texting, sharing photos, and even playing online games can be means to connect and share joy. Learning new technologies also shows your grandchild that age is no obstacle to growth. It tells them you're willing to step into their world rather than expect them always to come into yours. That simple effort can mean everything to a child or teenager trying to navigate identity and belonging. One of the greatest expressions of wisdom is patience. Children, especially young ones, may not always show appreciation or respond as we hope. A wise grandparent does not measure love in reciprocation but in consistency. Even if a grandchild seems distant or distracted, the grandparent remains a steady presence, offering without demanding, loving without expecting. Over time, that consistency builds a relationship of trust and comfort that outlasts passing moods or life phases. Another dimension of wisdom is being a bridge between generations. Grandparents are in a unique position to connect the past to the future. By sharing family stories, traditions, and values, they give grandchildren a sense of identity and heritage. This sense of belonging is powerful, especially in a world that can often feel chaotic or disconnected. However, sharing this heritage wisely means avoiding rigidity. It means understanding which traditions serve the current generation and which may need to evolve. A wise grandparent also champions the individuality of each grandchild. They do not compare one grandchild to another or impose labels that may stick. Instead, they recognize that every child is a universe unto themselves, worthy of respect, patience, and unique support. By doing this, they foster confidence and self-worth. Children grow stronger when they feel seen and understood for who they truly are, not who others expect them to be. Emotional intelligence is another cornerstone of wisdom. A grandparent who knows how to manage their own emotions sets an example for younger generations. This includes handling disappointment with grace, accepting limitations, and showing empathy in conflict. A wise grandparent doesn't shout or shame, they explain and explore. They don't insist on being right, but seek to understand. These traits not only strengthen their relationships, but teach essential life skills to their grandchildren. Forgiveness, too, plays a central role in wise grandparenting. Families are never perfect. Misunderstandings, mistakes, and even deep hurts can occur. A grandparent who chooses forgiveness, who extends grace to both children and grandchildren, demonstrates immense strength. They show that love is not fragile, but resilient. And in forgiving others, they also teach the family how to forgive themselves and each other, which is a lesson that may carry through generations. A wise grandparent prepares for transitions with thoughtfulness. They consider their own aging, not with fear, but with grace. They plan for the future, legally, emotionally, spiritually. They speak openly about their wishes, their values, and what they hope to leave behind. This doesn't have to be dramatic or somber. It can be empowering and meaningful. Whether it's writing a letter to be opened later, recording life stories, or passing on a treasured family recipe, these acts become part of the legacy they leave. Spirituality often plays a role in a wise grandparent's life, not in imposing beliefs, but in being an example of peace, gratitude, and purpose. Whether one practices religion or not, a grandparent who lives with intention and reflection passes on values that shape character. They show that life has meaning beyond material success, that kindness, humility, courage, and faith matter. These are lessons that last far longer than any lecture. A wise grandparent respects the emotional boundaries of their grandchildren. As kids grow, their needs for space, privacy, and autonomy increase. A grandparent who honors these boundaries gains respect and trust. They become a safe space, not because they demand it, but because they have earned it. They listen more than they speak, ask instead of assume, and offer support rather than solutions, unless invited to do otherwise. One profound area of wisdom is knowing when to let go. This does not mean abandoning love or presence, but understanding that every child must eventually carve their own path. A wise grandparent celebrates this journey rather than clings to control. They let their grandchildren become who they are meant to be, not who others want them to become. And in doing so, they become eternal allies in their hearts and minds. Sometimes, wisdom means admitting when you're wrong. Whether it's a small misunderstanding or a long-standing family tension, the courage to apologize and seek repair is powerful. Grandparents who model this teach that strength and humility go hand in hand. They show that relationships matter more than pride and that healing is always possible. Celebrating a grandchild's successes and comforting them in failure are equally important. A wise grandparent does not make achievement the condition for love. They do not say, "I'm proud of you because you won," but rather, "I'm proud of the effort you gave." They focus on the journey, not just the result. This builds resilience, self-esteem, and intrinsic motivation in their grandchildren. Playfulness is also a gift of wisdom. While wisdom is often associated with seriousness, the ability to play, laugh, and enjoy the little things shows emotional depth. A grandparent who is playful and present teaches that life is not just about lessons, but about joy. Baking together, walking in the park, telling silly stories, or creating art. These moments are where love lives, and they become lifelong memories. Health and well-being are not to be neglected either. A wise grandparent understands that the physical and mental health directly affect their ability to participate in their grandchildren's lives. They seek balance, engage in healthy habits, and stay informed about their own needs. They don't see self-care as selfish, but as necessary, because being there for others requires being there for oneself first. They are also learners, even in later years. Reading, exploring, asking questions, all show that life's purpose doesn't end at a certain age. Grandchildren observing this learn that curiosity never gets old, that they too can keep evolving, and this becomes a silent invitation to embrace learning as a lifelong habit. Wise grandparents build inclusive family traditions. They understand that the modern family is diverse, blended, multicultural, multilingual. They make space for everyone, adapt rituals, and celebrate what unites rather than what divides. They are the glue, not by force, but by love. But community matters too. A wise grandparent often contributes to something beyond their own family. They volunteer, mentor, help neighbors, or support local causes. This shows grandchildren that the world is bigger than the self, and that giving is as important as receiving it. Lastly, a wise grandparent reflects on their life, not with regret, but with gratitude. They cherish the people they have loved, the lessons they have learned, and the journey they have taken. And in this reflection, they model acceptance and peace, two of the rarest and most beautiful gifts one can pass on.